The third Northern Ireland Mental Health, Arts and Film Festival is back this May, and joining me in the studio today to tell us more about it is Jane Reynolds, Festival Director, Mark Smith, who is participating in the festival, and Geraldine O'Kane from Poetry NI. Jane, Mark and Geraldine, thank you very much for joining me in the studio today. So Jane, when people think of mental health and the film and arts, they often think of two separate things, but you're actually bringing these together, so how did this all come about?
Well, really, we came in Northern Ireland to the party a bit late in the scene. England, Scotland and Wales have all had mental health, arts and film festivals going for upwards of 10 years. Back in 2013, we decided that we needed to redress the balance with the difficulties with mental health in Northern Ireland being 25% more than those in England, and with our high rates of suicide, we decided that we had to do something to kind of highlight mental health not just as a negative issue but as something that people can take and turn into something very positive like the arts. So that's really why we decided to start the festival, and we're really a baby festival. So we're very much in our infancy, but this is the third year that we've run the festival and we're growing year on year. Our launch event was at Stormont and we walked up the hill, the idea being walk a mile in my shoes, and we've got the perfect venue here in Northern Ireland with the lead from the gates up to the steps at Stormont being exactly a mile. So we had flags and banners. We ran our own flag protest to stamp out stigma in Northern Ireland, and it was very successful. We had about 45 people there. We had folks with percussion instruments, and it was just a really fun, nice event, and 3 of the MLAs turned out to join us. So.
And the theme for this year is tackling stigma one conversation at a time. So can you tell me about this theme and why you chose it?
Stigma is obviously a big issue whenever it comes to mental health. Mental illness is the hidden disability. People are willing to talk about heart disease, they're willing to talk about cancer, but mental illness remains something that people struggle to talk about even within their own families. It affects people's work, it affects people's ability to engage in their community, it affects their ability to engage socially. There's been a lot of campaigns about taking the mask off and being able to talk about things. We believe that the arts is a really fantastic way of starting to get people to talk about stigma and to get away from the idea that mental illness is something that should be hidden. With our statistics on suicide in Northern Ireland here being so high, we really need as a society to be coming forward and taking that burden off people so that they don't see that as the only way out. And the arts can be a really good way of helping people to turn something that can be very painful into something positive and powerful, and that can be really good in instilling hope and promoting recovery. We are hoping that we will be able to influence in a much bigger way with the actual festival itself in May, and then the events which follow on from that.
And I can imagine there's going to be many events across the festival period, so can you give us some of those key events?
We are having lots of poetry events which are a particular passion of mine. I love going and listening to performance poetry, and we also have some writing poetry workshops happening. We have a performance event happening up in Londonderry /Derry, where it's young people who have written pieces who are actually going to be performing it to friends and family and the public, all based around the themes and issues to do with mental illness. We have a really good variety of short films, one of which in particular has touched me. It's called No Ordinary Goodbye, and it's the story of a family who have been bereaved by suicide and the impact that that has had on them. We've got performers coming up from Dublin to take part in the festival this year. We have had submissions from as far away as California for short films. The response has been amazing.
And Mark, how did you actually get involved in the festival?
I have a mental illness, so I have had suicidal attempts in it, so many. It's very hard to cope with mental illness, but art has been like a lifeline. So it has helped me cope with so many problems. I know I still have a long way to go, but through art, it has given me more life. It has kept me from trying to harm myself, and I've been doing it for 9 years, art. And as I said, I had no training. I just one day started to paint, and I have done abstract art. I have done portraits, and hopefully I have an exhibition, and that would be a really good achievement. The title will be The Wall and Beyond. Why the title is, it's about mental illness. It's about a wall that you're in your mind. Everything else is going about you. You're feeling that you're seeing everything going, but you're in that wall. That's where your mind is. That's where you're stuck. So you function, you can go make a cup of tea, make a cup of coffee, but you can't get out of that wall in your head. And it's fighting to get beyond it. And through art, I'm slowly doing that. It's a slow progress. I know I'm going to have ups and downs, but that's part of the learning curve of how I'm going to have to learn to cope again.
And with your experience, why was it so important for you to get involved in the festival?
I have a lot of things that I would like people to understand about mental illness. When you are seeing people killing themselves, trying to harm themselves or dying and so on, it's very emotional. When I was going through it, I met people when I was in groups with the hospital, and a lot of people who I met are dead now. So they are. They have, and one that wasn't as bad as me when I first went in, he ended up worse. He couldn't look after himself and so on and things like that. It's very emotional. It makes you feel that why are you alive and they're all gone. It shows that people with mental illness can do things, can have a life and can progress. I'm sorry, I'm getting a wee bit emotional. It's just something that's very personal to me. People who don't have a mental illness will maybe down the line end up with some kind of mental illness. They have to look after their health. If they don't look after theirs, they're going to be where we are. And it's so that people everywhere understands what mental illness is about. It's not just going to be the person next to you. It could be you the next time.
And why do you think there still is that stigma?
The stigma is that people are afraid. Years ago, it was always, you're crazy if you have with an illness, with mental illness. That's the way people think. People don't want to talk about their mental illness. I was very nervous about coming on here because I don't tell people about my mental illness because one, I feel ashamed about it myself, and I'm worried what other people would think. So for me coming here today and saying this is my way of saying that people have to talk about it. People have to understand what it's all about. There's so many different levels of mental illness. There's not just one. It's not just where you can class everybody as one kind of illness. There's so many different types, and people have to understand that there.
Geraldine, can you tell me how Poetry NI got involved in the festival?
Poetry NI have been sort of watching the festival grow over the past couple of years, and we were very interested in the fact that this was a festival celebrating living with mental health, and just even the way that they advertise it, it's so colourful and so beautiful, and it's a totally different way of looking at mental health. And what we want to do is continue the conversation that Northern Ireland Mental Health Arts and Film Festival have started, because we work quite a lot in the community in Belfast. We run a monthly open mic night for poetry, and we have people from all parts of the community coming in with all different abilities and disabilities.
And Jean, if anybody wants to find out any information about the festival, where can they go?
We are going to be actually developing and getting the programme printed in the next few days. We have our festival website, which very catchy title, www.nimaff, that's NIMHAFF.org. Or as Mark was saying, we have a very active Facebook page. So again, we're on Facebook as NIMAF, but if anyone just Googles Northern Ireland Mental Health Arts and Film Festival, that'll link them straight through. And all the information is going up on the website over the next kind of couple of weeks. So as I say, we're very, very excited about it.
So Jean, Mark and Geraldine, thank you very much for joining me in the studio today.
Thank you.
Thank you.